Hello, welcome to Boyd's Blue Alpine Freeze Drying channel. Today I'm going to be freeze drying some sliced strawberries and some celery. We ended up finding some organic strawberries on sale for $2 a pound, so we bought 10 pounds. I'm going to freeze dry 8 pounds of it, and my wife has to drink a fresh fruit drink every morning, and part of that is the celery, which is she has to have the fiber from the celery, so we have tried to freeze dry it, which allows us to make it into a powder, which makes it a lot easier for her to drink, and the texture goes down a lot easier than the just blended celery. So I'm going to freeze dry a couple pounds of celery, and we'll crush that and run it through a food processor and a mortar and pestle to make a powder out of it that she can then add to her drinks in the morning. So anyway, so that's what we've got. I'm going to put the strawberries and the celery in the freeze dryer, set it for the amount of time that we need, and I'll show you all those settings later. And I may even show you how we process the celery, plan on processing the celery afterwards, show you how I put it in the food processor and the mortar and pestle to get the powder out of it. So we'll go from there. And this is the celery. So I have the about 2 pounds of celery on this tray, and I just chopped it really fine because I'm going to grind it into a powder. So I just wanted to get it small. And then the strawberries, I sliced them about a 1/16 of an inch thick. Some are a little thinner. It doesn't matter if they're stacked on top of each other like this. They will separate quite easily once they're freeze dried. So I've got about 2 pounds. 2 pounds of strawberries per thing. They've been in here for this top tray's been in here for a little over an hour with the freezer running, so they're starting to freeze already. So the freeze time I've got in here, I think it's set for 8 hours. I might drop it to 6 hours because that should be plenty of time to dry. So I've had the freezer running for an hour or two with the food inside the freeze dryer with the intent of pre-freezing the food while it's going there. But the celery still needs another 6 to 8 hours to freeze too, so we'll see what happens. Now, so that'll take it till it's done about 6 in the morning on Friday morning. And I'm hoping that 6 in the morning will be better than 2 in the morning or 4 in the morning if I change the hours. So I'm going to try this. I think I'm going to extend these hours a little bit. I think I might come down and change the dry time tomorrow morning, add a couple more hours, so it'll go till about 8 or 9 in the morning on Friday. But the valve, double check to make sure it is closed. It was not, and the door is locked, and the valve is now closed. So let's continue that, and that'll start the freeze cycle for 8 hours. And sometime tomorrow during the 24 hours of freeze dry time, I might come down and add 3 or 4 hours to it. It may be done at 16 to 18 hours, but that would put it at midnight or 2 in the morning, which I don't plan on getting up to check it at that time of night because I don't want to package it in the middle of the night. So I will probably just add extra time to it just so that it will definitely have time to be fully dried, and so I can package it up in a reasonable hour during the morning instead of in the middle of the night. So that's my plan for now. Thank you for coming to the channel. We'll come back and check this on Friday morning and see how the strawberries and the celery has turned out. And I may actually show you how I process this celery with the food processor and the mortar and pestle to get a celery powder that my wife uses for her drinks. So we'll show you that when these foods are all done. Thank you. It is now Friday morning. I ended up checking the strawberry and the celery last night about 8 o'clock at night, and the top tray of strawberries was, I would say it was probably done. The second tray was almost done. The middle tray was just a little bit cold, and the celery was a little bit cold, so probably we'll need another 2 or 3 hours. So the fact that I gave this I had 8.5 hours freeze time, and I don't know, I gave it several hours, so it would be 6 o'clock in the morning when I'd check it the next day on Friday morning. So it was probably done at about 20 hours of freeze dry time. It didn't need the full amount that I gave it, but it's done, and it's well freeze dried. So you can tell, even though I stacked the strawberries up and they're all kind of stuck together, they do separate quite easily. So even though they were stacked on top of each other and you're getting these crumbs, just by a little bit of, some of them are breaking, but most of them will separate. Depends on how you break it, I guess. But some of them are breaking off evenly, some of them are, keeping the whole thing. It's just really fragile, but for the way I'm going to eat these, they're probably be eaten either as snacks or maybe thrown into another food. So it's not going to matter if they're broken. It doesn't look nicer when they're not, but so I guess that would be the thing. If you need to have them looking like strawberry slices, maybe not stack them too close together, not too much on top of each other. They do tend to break a little bit like this when they're stacked together. Some of them separated really smoothly, some of them didn't. So up here it's more like a whole bunch of individual chips that are not really sticking together. For some reason that tray down at the bottom seems to be crumbling a little bit more. But yeah, it's turned out really nice. These ones here are kind of separating more in chips and not so much breaking into individual, little chunks. They're splitting and keeping the full strawberry shape. So anyway, it worked out really nicely. You can kind of hear the strawberries. They just kind of feel really light and airy, breaking up like little pieces of styrofoam or something. So anyway, I'm really happy with the turnout. If you've never had freeze-dried strawberry, it's one of my favorite pieces. They are delicious to eat, and they are really nice to rehydrate and throw into drinks or foods or just whatever. So I'm just going to package these up now. The celery, I will take that upstairs to show you how I'm going to process this celery, because we want celery powder out of this. I'm not going to leave the chunks like this. I'm going to make celery powder out of it. I probably could use it like this, but just to make it, the whole point of the celery was to make it so we didn't have to taste the fibers when we're drinking them. So I think having these strings inside here, rehydrated as full string, you'd still have that texture in the drink. So we will show you how I make the powder out of this strawberry here, or out of the celery. You can tell if I crumble it, it does just kind of turn into a soft powder. You can kind of see it powdering right here in my hand. So it will be really easy to powder with a food processor, but that's what we'll do. So let's get these packaged, and we'll go upstairs and show you how I do the celery in a few minutes. Okay, so to package the strawberries, I am packaging in I'm going to probably eat these in the next couple of years, so I'm packing them in these little bags here. They're like 1.5, maybe 1 quart bags. You can see inside the bag, so you can see the strawberries in there. I'm just putting, based on how much water came out, I'm kind of calculating these at, I calculated it to be about, because it started off with 2 pounds, 2 cartons of strawberries in each tray, and I ended up with about 100 grams of dry strawberries per tray on average. So that to me says it's about 50 grams of strawberries per pound. And so by putting exactly 50 grams of strawberries, or about 2 ounces, a little less than 2 ounces of strawberries in each bag, I am basically repackaging it in about the same volume as the package that we bought, because we bought one pound little baskets of strawberries. So in this case I'm trying to repackage them in packages about the size that we originally purchased them in. So I bought 1 pound. I bought some 1 pound bags. I'm repackaging them, or 1 pound baskets of strawberries, and I'm repackaging these as 1 pound rehydrated weight. So basically it puts it about the size of the basket that you'd buy at the grocery store, little green basket full of strawberries. And so I'm recalculating or reweighing these to basically recreate that same volume. And then I think I'll do one that'll have 2 pounds, or the rest of it. So whatever doesn't fit in these first 7 bags of strawberries, I will put in the last bag. So 41 grams, and it should be about 50 grams. So that's exactly 1 pound of strawberries from the original. There's 50 grams. So pretty much each bag of sliced strawberries represents a 1 pound basket of strawberries when they were whole strawberries. So that's how I'm doing it. So right here, I'm just gonna reweigh this, put my oxygen absorbers in there, zero this out, and weigh the remainder of my strawberries, or put the remainder of these strawberries in there. So it might be, this one will be a little bit more than 50 grams because it worked out a little bit heavier than exactly 50 grams per ounce, but we'll see what it fits here. I do like these Mylar, or these silicone mats. They make a really good funnel. Let's put it back in the bag here. So, all right. So actually, it's kind of surprised. I guess didn't have that many more. So this is 58 grams. The rest of them are exactly 50. This is 59 grams. Here's what it's showing. So not quite as much as the smaller bags. Well, now it's showing 60 grams. So. Yeah, you kind of read there, 60 grams of that. So I'm just going to close this one off, squeeze out some of the oxygen, and mark that with 60 grams so I know how much weight there is in there. And the rest of them are 50, so I don't have to worry about marking them all. Anyway, so that's it. Now I just got to print out the labels. Let's go show you how I do the celery. Okay, with each bag Ziploc sealed, I will now just heat seal them. So I'll just come in here, hold that down for a second or two, and it seals the edge. Just kind of line that up on top. It takes about 2 or 3 seconds to heat seal it. You can kind of check and make sure there's a good seal all the way across to the bag. You can hear the, I don't know if you can hear it, but I can hear when the electricity kicks on this machine. You can kind of hear it click on, you hear the power click off when it thinks it's, you know, been heated up enough to melt the bag. So I can hear the motor running, I hear it click off, so that's why I know it's done. There is a dial on the end to adjust the amount of time, so if it's not staying on long enough, you can adjust the time on the dial over here, and that will adjust how long the heat is applied to the bag, so that if you're not getting what you think is a good seal, you can adjust and add more time and it'll melt through it. Or if you think it's melting too long, you can also adjust that and reduce the time. Okay, so that's got my bag. I don't know if you can see this seal. I'll kind of zoom in on that really close and see if you can see the you can kind of see where the bag has a seal, where it just kind of indents the bag a little bit there. The other side might not be. Yeah, you can kind of see it here too. It's a good, nice little, with the light just right, you can kind of see how the bag flattens out there where the, yeah. Okay, so this is how I process my celery. I basically just put in about, I don't know, enough to almost fill this little mini food processor that I've got here, a little blade, and I attach the motor to it, and then I turned on high speed and just basically run the processor for a few seconds. Check it every few seconds to see if it's the consistency I want. And once I see the consistency I like, it's a little closer. It's not still, it would still have quite a bit of powder, so then I just basically put some of it in the mortar and pestle and use this to just kind of crush up all the leftover pieces and turn this into a really fine powder. So I'll just kind of stir this up in here and crush that down until I get a nice powder. And once I've done that, once I get it into a nice fine powder, which doesn't take very long, you can see it just, you know, it's about I don't know, probably a half a cup in here, and that will grind that down to much finer powder than I started with, and that will make it so that when she puts it in her drink, she won't be getting big chunks of fiber. She'll have all the fiber in there, but it won't be in big bites that are definitely making it harder to drink and swallow because of the texture. And her doctor assured her that she can't juice it because it's the fiber of the celery that she needs for her blood pressure. And so we're gonna try this out, see if this works as well as the fresh celery, and if it does, that's what we're gonna do. So from there, once I've got it processed, I throw it in a small, just in a little Tupperware bowl that can kind of keep it dry. You can kind of see how much finer that is than this. And that's basically all I'm doing. I'm just running it through the food processor for a few seconds and then process it, pound it down with this mortar and pestle until I get a fine powder. And that's all. So, and then from there, my wife will drink it. Thank you for coming to Boyd's Blue Alpine Freeze Drying channel. Today we did 1 tray of celery, about 2 pounds of celery, and we also did 4 trays, or about 8 pounds of strawberries. So the overall time probably only took about 20 to 22 hours of freeze drying time, plus the 6 to 8 hours of freezing time. But I did run it overnight, so I wouldn't have to stop in the middle of the night. When I tested it after about I guess it had been about 24 hours, and 8 of that was freezing time, so about 16 hours. It was pretty much 90% done, so it's probably done in 18 to 20 hours freezing time, or freeze drying time. So anyway, I also hope you enjoyed the fact that I showed you how I process the celery. That's a very specific thing that my wife and I do, so just for her medical reasons right now. So she's eating a lot of celery, or drinking a lot of celery, which is hard to do when you blend it. But having it as a powder and adding it to the drink is a lot more tolerable to drink. So anyway, I hope you enjoy this. If you have any questions, I did have a request for some honey, so I'm probably going to do a very small test because of the cost of honey. I'll probably do a very small test, maybe an ounce or 2 of honey, pretty much for similar reasons. Somebody who has medical reasons not to take any kind of sweeteners or additives, including sugar, and can only take natural sugars. And when she's traveling, it's hard for her to travel with like large bottle of honey and stuff. So she was just wondering how it would work to have freeze-dried honey. So I'm gonna try some freeze-dried honey, make a powder out of it similar to what I did with the celery today, and we'll see how that works. So that will be coming up shortly. So thank you very much for following me. If you're enjoying this channel, please leave a like and subscribe. And if you know anybody who's looking to buy a freeze dryer, please let them know about Blue Alpine, because they do tend to freeze dry the food a lot faster than most others, and their large freeze dryer does hold a lot of food. So thank you very much for coming, and have a good day.